Well, welcome back inside Oracle Arena with Jalen, Chauncey, and Paul. I'm Michelle. And what we were worried about, was that it might turn out to be a blowout, and that's kind of what happened there at the end. And I just want to preface all of this by saying, before we even got out here on the West Coast, you guys had talked so much about Steph Curry going to be the MVP of these finals, and then what we saw tonight looks like we're headed in a good direction. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if you were to base things off of tonight's game, that was a heck of a performance.
Michelle, I mean, the last two games.
Michelle, you're a terrific host.
You're going to fight with us?
My finals MVPs are look dapper and handsome. But we didn't say Steph was going to be finals MVP.
Who was it?
They said KD
my bad.
was going to finals MVP.
My bad. I got to give it to Jalen.
I said Steph was going to be finals MVP.
I mean, he's definitely the front runner right now. But KD put in a great game today.
But in all honesty, it didn't take a genius to figure this out. It's all about matchups, really. And they just don't have the firepower offensively to make him work from the guard perspective. J.R. Smith was non-existent in this game. George Hill, he just limited at this point of his career. And when you watch all of these amazing shots that Steph was making, by the way, it's against everybody. It's against Kevin Love. It's against Nance. He's an equal opportunity employer, and I think he's just going to have his way in this series.
It is ridiculous, some of the shots this guy's made. The one at the end of the shot clock, then the corner and 1-3. I mean, you know what? This is probably a long time coming, and right now he's the front runner for Finals MVP if they hold on and win this series. But he really put on a show there in the fourth quarter, pushed this lead, and they never looked back. I mean, this guy, he's going to go down as one of the greatest point guards to ever live, and he's just continuing with all the things he's doing with his legacy, and it's beautiful to watch.
It is fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to watch. I can remember a couple of weeks ago, these two young men said Steph Curry was injured because he had
young men?
These two young men.
Oh, okay.
He was hobbled.
Okay.
He's gotten over that now.
Oh, now he's gotten over it.
You can see the consistency of his game now.
He got healthy.
Just tell me this. Steph doesn't play up and down. He was inconsistent when he first came back.
Let me tell you something. You've seen all the greatest in the world play. You can have a bad game every now and then. It happens. He's just human. But he is on his way to being the Finals MVP if they can win this series. Unbelievable display he's putting on. And like you said, he's giving it to everybody. Love, LeBron, George Hill, J.R. Smith.
And by the way, he passed Ray Allen tonight for 9 threes for the most threes in one single game.
Congrats to Steph, man. He's playing amazing.
In the NBA Finals.
With a guy that you guys, am I allowed to say this, that everyone's given a hard time to by the name of Kevin Durant?
Yes.
Can we talk about what he was able to do tonight?
So Kevin Durant's a terrific, wonderful player, one of the top players in the game. But in this series, he's allowed to ease in the game. He don't have to lead from the front. Steph is doing that. He can pick and choose his moments. All of a sudden, they're up 8. He can push it to 10. All of a sudden, they're up 10. He can push it to 13. He doesn't have to come out and be like that #1 alpha type takeover player. But at the same time, that's what makes the Warriors so great. This is why he wanted to join their basketball team. So many players can make plays, and it's almost like they're coming at you in waves.
And to me, I just thought Draymond set the tempo of the game, picking up LeBron full court, being physical, taking a lot of pressure off of KD from the other day. KD having to guard LeBron, which we all know is a tall order. Draymond took on that responsibility tonight, freeing up and unlocking KD to go to work and be the offensive juggernaut he is.
Well, I called him out before the game. I said he had to be great. He was great tonight. He was efficient. That's what we've been looking for. But the reason he was efficient is because he caught the ball in a better position, closer to the basket. He didn't start at the three-point line, dribbling in, trying to go one-on-one. He caught it in the mid-post where he can turn around, get to his mid-range shot, and that's the reason we saw him be efficient. And then he was very active on the rebound. He passed the ball well. Now, this is the Kevin Durant that we're used to seeing.
This is the one that you called the best player in the world,
Exactly. Yes, I did. This is the one. This is the one, the way he played tonight.
The whole way home.
I thought he was going to keep going.
Well, so what are we getting at here now?
I don't know.
LeBron is the best player in the world this year.
Look at him.
It was KD last year. It's LeBron this year.
Can we talk about LeBron? I think, Paul, you mentioned it. Actually, it was the first half when you said he's tired. He looked tired.
I mean,
he finished the night with 29.
He played awesome. I mean, he got help tonight. It's like the question you have to ask is where does he go from here? Because LeBron, I mean, how much more can he do? 51, then comes back with 29, 13, and 9, and they get blown out. And then you get Kevin Love, who's been consistent in the series. You get some help from George Hill. But
what about J.R. Smith? I think people expected J.R. Smith to want to come out and redeem himself, and he finished the night with 5.
You know, I expected J.R. to come out and be aggressive like George Hill did. George Hill came out with that attitude of, you know what, I missed that free throw, but y'all not going to blame it on me today. I'm coming to work. I thought J.R. would come with that same attitude and that same mindset, but he didn't. But again, this is, I said it before, the deflating loss in game 1.
Yes.
To me, it was a carryover because I just didn't see the type of grit, you know, and belief that they can win this game.
Yes, that had to come at the start of the game.
During the game did I see that.
Yes.
And that was what I feared. Now, you have to go back home and start to feel that love again, and maybe, you know, they can turn around.
But, guys, do you think this happens because the Golden State Warriors have so many weapons? I mean, you turn around, JaVale McGee hanging on the rim. Sean Livingston not missing from the floor. He was 5 for 5. They have so many. David West making a clutch 3 at the end of quarter. That could be deflating for your best player in LeBron James because he's looking around a few times. He's holding his shorts. They're going to the line. He's not even looking at those guys.
Well, who else does he want to step up? We said, okay, Kevin Love last game. This game, he got some help from George Hill. You guys, they have to focus on the defense. It's not even about the offensive numbers anymore. When you look at the Houston series versus Golden State, they held them under 100 for like 2 or 3 straight games. You got to keep the Warriors under 110 if you want a chance. They're only 2-5 if they don't score over 110.
And Jalen, you alluded to something that I wanted to talk about. The Coach Kerr putting McGee into the lineup. I thought it was a big deal. You know, his athleticism. LeBron lived in the paint the entire first game getting layups and dunks. You put your athletic guy in, JaVale McGee, there to make plays at the rim protect. First play of the game, he gets a dunk, bringing the crowd into the game. I mean, that was a very good adjustment.
He really opens up the offense because of the threat he is on the roll for the lob.
Yeah.
And so that opens up things because on the low side, you have to have a corner man help into the paint. And it's either the lob is there or the corner 3 is open, and they were getting everything they wanted tonight.
But you know what? A lot of that, and rightfully so, is about reputation of the three-point shot for the Warriors. But when you really watch the game, there are only 3 guys that are constantly knocking down threes. Other guys, when they catch it at 3, Draymond will let it fly if he's making them. Livingston's not shooting from out there. Bell, a couple of times when he was close to the line, that's not his range. He's looking to get the ball up. So for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think when they go back home, they have to continue to focus on those guys, but not stress the others so much, because I think that's what gets them spread and allows JaVale McGee to get layups.
I don't want to not mention the fact that they're partying outside like this was the end of 4.
They know that this may be their last home game.
That might have been the last home game. Okay, so before the game, a little questionable on whether or not Klay Thompson, how is he going to be? He ends up finishing the game with 20, which you guys said if he can go, then we're ended up in a blowout position, and that's exactly where we find ourselves. Are you impressed by what he was able to do on the bad ankle?
I'm really impressed by Klay. He showed a level of toughness and tenacity because he limped in. And you know, whatever happens in the locker room, for some strange reason, as a basketball player, it seems like you walk better on the court than you do at home the day of the game. And I bet that's the case for Klay. He's always going to give you the lockdown D. But again, getting his three-point shots and his activity allowed their offense to work like a well-oiled machine.
I really couldn't tell that he was gimpy tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, we were worried. We saw him in the layup line, and then we saw him go back into the locker room. We were wondering if he was going to play. He probably just had to use the bathroom, came back out, got back in the layup line, and came out here and got buckets tonight.
Listen, so many times during this game, Klay hit timely baskets, timely shots. We talk about this all the time. People always talk about big shots. Most people think that that's always at the end of a game. No, it's to stop a opposing team's run. Cleveland stuck around this game for a long time, and every time they got within 6 or within 7, here comes Klay Thompson hitting another three-point shot. Those are big-time baskets.
I'm glad you went there, Mr. Big Shot, because you reminded me of something that changed the landscape of the NBA. When the Golden State Warriors were trailing the Thunder 3-2, and Klay Thompson shot them into a tied series. They won that series, and KD left OKC to join the Warriors. In the previous series, they were trailing 3-2. Klay did the exact same thing in Game 6. And again, I think the Houston series was the NBA Finals. But with Chris Paul on the floor with no Andre Iguodala, watching the Houston Rockets in the NBA Finals.
You're going to stick with
Injuries
that, aren't you?
do play a factor, just like Love does.
But I remember you guys said without Iguodala, they would struggle. They struggled a little bit, but they look like a fine-tuned oil machine, even without Iguodala. Let's say he does come back later in this series, that means it's pretty much over for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
So let's say you're just strolling by a score sheet here, and you see, oh, Draymond Green, 5 points. That's not enough to tell the story. So can you just talk a little bit about the value of what Draymond Green, especially in the fourth quarter, what he does for that team?
I'll say the first thing he does, he knows when he's not on, and he's not going to shoot. Usually role players, they don't understand that when you're not on, you got to pass the ball and play the percentages. And he's going to do everything else. Bring the toughness, the intensity, the passing, the rebounding, the defensive force that he is. Now all of a sudden with that camaraderie that he has with his teammates, it becomes a symphony once everybody gets
I like that he took that challenge of guarding LeBron there.
He should.
Especially in the
Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, yeah, you know, KD was on him for most of the night, but then the second half, Draymond took on that responsibility, and I thought he did a good job on some of his drives and then switches and then that nature. So, you know, you're right. The stats don't really tell you how effective he was, but he was very effective for what he was able to do tonight. All the little things, the rebounding, the boxing out, the clogging up the lane, those things just go unnoticed that don't show up on the stat sheet.
Beads, you've done something that most people do. They look at stat sheets, right?
Yeah, yep.
His value's not on this paper.
That's why I need y'all to talk about it.
It's not on this paper. He does so many things. I believe that he stirs the coffee for this team. Okay, he's the heart and soul of the team. They take on his toughness. They take on his leadership, and those things don't show up on this stat sheet, and that's the reason why he is, for this team, one of the elite players in our game.
And check this out. When Steph was over on the sideline, he got into it with Kendrick Perkins. Who was the first one that ran over there? Draymond Green.
Teammates. Good
Draymond Green.
As he should.
That stuff doesn't show up on the stat sheet.
So speaking of something that don't show up in the stat sheet, how about activating Perk? Let him go out there and give you 5 or 6 fouls.
Man, that's going to be a quick flagrant, too,
I know, but I'm tired. but
Probably going to be out of there so quick, man.
Y'all don't think he could get 5 minutes and a few fouls? I mean, if he's going to antagonize them to the
If Rodney Hood is not getting any minutes, then how do you activate Perk? You know, Rodney Hood's been there a lot longer than Perk. He just got on the team a month ago. I don't know where they go from here, Cleveland Cavaliers.
They go home.
You know what?
They go home.
Thanks for the
They're going to be much better at home.
What do you see? What do you see in these games that's a positive? Because we said, okay, game 1 they played them close. Game 2 they get blown out.
Can I tell you?
What's a positive for them moving?
The third quarter
they played well. This was their chance to get back in the game. They cut the lead, but they only outscored the Warriors by 3 points in that quarter.
Paul, you didn't see anything positive for the Cavs.
They didn't guard in the second half.
I'll tell you
they didn't guard.
Did you see anything positive for the Cavs?
The things that I want to see positive is them play better defense. They did open up their offense in the third quarter, but you have to defend to beat them. The Houston Rockets showed that.
What do role players do better at home?
They shoot better. They're more confident, of course.
Really?
And that's what I saw. The Cavs took care of the ball. 25 assists, only 10 turnovers. You mentioned the third quarter. And they still haven't shown me that anybody can slow down or stop LeBron James.
Listen, I think, and I'm pretty sure Coach Kerr and the Warriors were going in their locker room happy to be up 2-0. However, thinking we haven't played a great basketball game.
They played great tonight. They played great.
2 guys did.
They played
Clay played pretty good.
What more do you want from this team? They scored 122 points.
No, they did, and they got it done.
They shot well. I thought they defended well.
Paul, how many times did we sit up here during the game and say, man, Cleveland can steal this game? We said that for 3 quarters.
Without a doubt.
Now, when you go home and you have that opportunity and you got guys playing with a lot more confidence, you know, it's maybe Golden State can steal the game.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's you know, they got a chance to make it serious.
What you said was the reason why I felt like they would win by 20 today, which is also the reason why I'm saying the Cavs going to win Game 3. And the reason why they're going to win is because the Golden State Warriors moniker is strength in numbers. But really, they're so reliant on their best 3 shooters in Steph, Clay, and Durant that I don't know if Livingston and JaVale McGee are going to be able to get that level of productivity and efficiency while they're playing in Cleveland in Game 3.
For the record, he just did a prediction on Sunday.
You said Cleveland's going to win
with the Cavs in 3. Interesting. Do they have what it takes? Granted, nothing shocking's happened. So. They lost 2 games on the road. That's what they're supposed to do.
Well, there was a series a few weeks ago, and they was 0-2 down against Boston as well. I think Cleveland gets it done at home in game 3.
LeBron is averaging 40 points, probably 10 rebounds and 10 assists. What more can he do?
Who's going to step up?
It's going to go on all night.
So
who plays better at home?
LeBron is averaging 40, 10, and 10.
I'm trying to give you the gems. You just won't play. I'm giving you the cards to play, Paul.
So you're putting all your faith in J.R. Smith playing better.
Paul, I'm giving you the cards to play.
Larry Nance Jr.
I am.
I'm trying to help you out here,
Yes.
Paul.
How about this?
Tristan Thompson.
This is a different monster they're dealing with in the Warriors.
We get out of this show. Y'all continue arguing wherever everyone goes after this.
I told you, this might be a
Join
sweep.
us on NBA Countdown.
You did say that.
That's all for us. Go over to ESPN. Here's what's coming up on SportsCenter.
I'm going to Cabo next.